This is Chris Hansen.
Chad doing Rip City Radio here.
It's your favorite basketball player, Tyler Hansbrough.
This is Jamie Hudson.
This is TJ Houshmandzadeh.
And I'm going to let y'all know something.
Duke sucks and Duke will always suck.
You're listening to
It Just Makes Sense.
It just makes sense.
We are sports. We are nostalgia. We are pop culture. And we're funny sometimes.
I think overall we're just a good time.
They thought we couldn't do it. But guess what?
We're back.
Podcasts are free, and we can do whatever the hell we want.
Yeah.
We never knew what we were doing in the first place.
Yeah, that is a good point.
You're picturing LeBron like Ursula from Little Mermaid.
The man is
cooking up a
scheming
fucking plan.
constantly. The guy spent a year on a podcast with the guy who's now going to be his fucking head coach. The guy schemes constantly. Would you rather have a half suck twice or no suck?
It depends on what I'm sucking.
Well, what you're sucking?
That's called a Shyamalan twist. It's a M. Night Shyamalan twist. And who are
Speaking
we
of
to
losing,
call people out on losing bets, okay? We suck at betting.
And remember, don't be afraid to fade yourself.
how we looking? How we feeling? How we looking? How we feeling? How we looking? How we feeling, Brody? You feeling good? Brody's feeling good.
Can you say welcome to It Just Makes Sense?
Welcome to It Just Makes Sense.
Nice. Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. So you are wearing what looks like a bulletproof vest. Where did you get that at?
The Wildcat Show.
The Wildcat Show.
Whoa. Oh gosh. Tell us about that.
And I can tell you after it.
What do you mean after it?
After the show.
Yeah. So, like, what happened during the show? Who did you see? Which guy?
Martin and Chris.
Martin and Chris, the Kratts. You know, Braxton watches Zaboomafoo, which had Martin and Chris, the Kratt brothers.
Not currently, but
Nice.
I have watched
He
it.
has watched that.
Chris
so.
Pratt from Parks and Rec?
It's a little...
Isn't he in Guardians of the Galaxy?
No.
Yep. And Captain America.
No, he's,
wow.
Wow. Very different show. A very
Okay.
different show. So Brody has his, what is this thing called?
A power disc.
A power disc. Nice. Amazing.
So, Brody, what do you have for us today?
Brody, I think, actually has a brand new saying.
Oh.
Brody has a
Let's hear
new
it.
saying that he coined. So on Sunday, we went to a candy store. It was called C's Candy, right?
Ever heard of it?
And you got yourself a what?
Chocolate lollipop.
A chocolate lollipop. And so if anyone's had C's Candy before, it is those suckers are impossible to eat in one sitting. And so, Brody, we said that you can only have part of it now. What did we call that? Or what did you decide to call that, what you were going to do to it?
Half suck.
A half suck. Yeah, so Brody...
That's good.
so,
Dude, half sucks when you're out of time. You just got to do it.
right? Yeah, so...
Some kinds can be disappointing, but
Manage your expectations.
I'll take a half suck over a no
I'm in
suck.
with a half suck, okay?
That's the thing. Okay, so Brody, you tell us your definition of a half suck.
It's when you drink for one. It's when you eat it for one night, and the day after that, and the night after that, you eat it again.
And then it becomes a full suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Very
Some
nice.
leftovers?
Yeah. And then you wanted to, you also put it into the song that we were singing last week as well. You said, put my hands up and play my song.
But if I fly away.
Right. But then you said the half suck flies away, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving my hips like, yeah.
My hands blanket.
All right. Yeah, it was like half suck like, yeah. But, you know.
I don't know
That's,
if that's kid friendly.
well,
Yeah. Brody, what else you got for us? Anything?
I've been to the top of the pink building.
Brody went to the top of the pink
Is that
building.
Wildcats related?
It is
No.
actually kind of. So,
You don't know.
Well, it's after the Wildcrats.
It was, yes. So after the Wildcrats, Brody went to the top. For people who are our P1s in Portland, one of the most popular buildings in Portland is the Pink Building. So after Wildcrats, where did we go?
The top of the Pink Building to see a fancy restaurant.
To see a fancy restaurant. And what did you get there?
Chicken strips.
You got chicken strips at that fancy restaurant.
PCG?
The finest strips.
You hit him with the chicken strips?
You hit them with the chicken strips.
All right.
And French fries.
And French fries.
Did you
yes,
sit by the
indeed.
window?
We did, yeah. We were kind of by the window. We
Guess one table away.
one table away from the window. So indeed, yeah.
You were pretty high up there. Are you scared of heights?
No.
I'm sorry.
No.
I
How
asked.
dare you?
I'm sorry I asked. I'm scared of heights.
So we from Keller Auditorium. You were
Well,
very
that high?
That's pretty high, bro.
That's pretty damn high.
From Keller Auditorium. We were actually able to catch the Max train down to the Pink Building, and so there's always some characters on the.
Yeah, what
And
you think of the
he
crackheads?
missed it.
No. We missed on the way back. We walked all the way back, which was good for us. But as we're getting off, there was a group of people, and the guy goes, "Bye, y'all rich white people."
To you guys?
To us, yeah.
That make you
Look
feel
where
good,
you live.
Pete?
I was wearing a Target T-shirt. I mean,
That made you feel good,
guess
didn't
You
it?
love that shit.
Bye, y'all rich white
That's
people.
why you live in the suburbs. So you witness a bunch of misfits half sucking on the max?
Yeah, well, that was us. Are you ready? Is that all you got for tonight? Pink Building, Wildcrats, half suck. Pound it.
Brody, say maybe OJ did it.
Maybe OJ did it.
Yeah, he probably did. Yeah. Good night, Brody. Love you.
Good night, Broads.
Good night.
Good night, Bean.
Maybe OJ did. But last week he said OJ didn't do it.
Yeah. Oh, so he didn't do it. Oh,
He's
I thought
progressing.
Yeah. The
I'm just turning him into a flip-flopper like his pops. He's flip-flopping with the OJ thing.
How do you guys feel about the terminology of a half suck?
I like it. I'm into
it's
it.
Great. Yeah.
It's something.
Well,
Maybe in the moment I wouldn't like it so much, but I like the term.
a half suck is better than a no suck.
I mean,
That's what I say.
In
Yeah.
Brody's terms, yes, something is better than nothing. But in Brody's way of explaining a half suck, I don't want to do a half suck and then have someone tell me, well, the rest will happen tomorrow.
Oh well.
You know?
Well, that just means you're getting a full suck tomorrow.
No, you're getting the second half tomorrow. It's not a full.
It really is only just a second half.
You're
of a
limited.
half suck.
Limited capabilities on this one.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
So it's double half suck.
You know, I don't even want it anymore. Not if
I'll
I'm
take
going to
no
be teased.
suck. That's my final.
No, oh, okay.
That's
Well,
my final.
Wow. You
I'm
really
either
are
a-
married.
I'm a full or no suck guy.
Listen, C's Candy, sponsor us. Well, welcome to It Just Makes Sense, presented by Juan Magoo's Blanket here. So,
Yeah, there's no sponsors on this.
no, but you have chosen to break out that for
I mean,
the,
let's not forget, we're still sponsored by Boneyard Beer.
As we're
Don't
drinking
look at
Coors
that.
Light.
Don't look at the Coors Light though. So, and don't look if you're Pepsi at who is number 2 now in the soda rankings.
RC.
Well, no. Dr. Pepper officially passing Pepsi in gross sales as the number 2
Globally?
soda. Yeah.
What?
Dr. Pepper has been on a huge upswing.
But that's hard to believe because Dr. Pepper doesn't exist in other countries.
yes, it does.
Well, yes, it does.
Not as much. You're telling me as much as Pepsi? Like,
Maybe not as much, but
Actually, it's in
that's-
just America. So, but
yeah, there's no way that's global. There's no way that's
in
global.
America, it's America.
you know what else doesn't exist in other countries? Diet Coke.
Really?
Yeah,
I guess it makes sense.
because other countries don't allow their citizens to drink aspartame.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we're the only bozos. Do you think that they'll ever... Have we talked about this on the pod where I think that, like, I'm surprised it's still called Diet Coke? I know that they're trying to do it with, like, Coke Zero or Zero Sugar or whatever.
But Coke Zero is allowed in other countries.
Oh. Is that not aspartame?
No.
Oh. Fuck me.
Other countries also have their like different brands of soda. I mean, I don't know if it's from Coca-Cola or whatever, but they have different sodas. Like there's countries that don't have Fanta, and their orange soda is Royal.
Yeah.
Like a lot in Asia.
Fanta is pretty dispersed though across the world. It's one of the more common ones.
I think soda is kind of like car makes in other countries. Like they have Toyota, they have Nissan, but they don't have like the models that we have. They have different models in other countries.
Sure. Yep.
I always find it so interesting going to other countries and seeing like the random car manufacturers.
Yeah, I think remember the cars that we had growing up. We had a Nissan California.
Really?
Yeah, which was a station wagon.
A Nissan California. Let me pull this up here.
It's
And then you're talking about when you were in the Philippines.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know, fucking 7 or 8. It was the first car where I pulled the e-brake down and car started moving.
Oh, hell
so
yeah.
all my uncles started pulling it back. I'm in the driver's seat just by myself.
It was a station wagon type,
Yeah.
huh? Okay.
That's one of our first cars.
Okay, so it's kind of like, for the people who are listening, it's kind of like an older Volvo, like the longer Volvo looking thing. So
With the backward
boxy.
seat.
It's kind of like if the Back to the Future car were like a station wagon.
And one of the most popular cars. So the way that people looked at, I guess still to this day, the way people look at Range Rovers here, that car in the Philippines was a Mitsubishi Pajero.
What did you just call me?
If you had that car, that meant you're wealthy and you are in a different, like, upper middle class.
There you go. You recently were telling me about how there you go. First time I ever.
There's
drank
my
beer.
bib coming in handy, huh?
You sold a couch recently. You had someone who hit you up online and was like, "Hey, I don't know if I like the couch you sold me."
What's up with this couch?
Yeah.
Fuck your couch.
She's like, it smells like dog. I'm like it said on the
Like, it
description.
literally said that. It reminded me. I did see something on the Twitters where someone hit them up. So they were giving away a couch, and a guy named Max, or no, a guy named Matt, message a guy named Max. He says, "Hi, Max, is this still available? Any drinks or jizz stains? LOL, have to ask this day and age. I hope a good story. If so, otherwise, looks like a solid, comfy couch."
Great message.
Comfy, C-U-M-F-Y.
Oh, sure, no, he just...
Comfy.
Had it been riddled in jizz stains, he said it could be a comfy couch. So yes, indeed. But anyways, you selling your couch reminded me of this post that I recently
My
saw.
favorite marketplace or selling story is when we were sitting in your backyard in the Clackamas house, and we have empty beer cans, empty glasses from the night before, all over this propane fire pit. And you're like, yeah, this propane fire pit has been through several houses. We've had many nights enjoying a drink around this fire.
Yeah.
But it's time for it to
I
go.
need it gone.
I need it gone. Like, at that point, it's so old and it's barely working.
I'm pretty sure it's about to explode.
We're just going to dump it. We don't even try to, like, turn it on. And I'm like, I bet you I could sell it. And I took the picture of the fire pit as is, with all the cans and shit.
And I think I said, if you can sell it, I'll give you like $10 or I'll give you half or something.
Yeah.
Whatever it was.
And that moment, I just took a picture of it with all the cans. It's dirty as shit.
Bottles of liquor.
Posted it on Marketplace for $40. And within an hour, someone's like, "Hey, can I pick this up?"
I'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just cleaned it and they picked it up, gave you $40.
I mean, clean it is like a
You
nice
wiped it off.
I wiped it down.
Yeah.
I took the beer cans off of it, and then I go, "Here you go." And they took it. But yeah, again, it's like, what? He was going to hit me up and be like, "Hey, this thing's a piece of garbage." Be like, "Yeah, I was just about to take it to the dump. I might explode."
$40.
So, anyway.
I've been heavy in the marketplace space recently.
Yeah. Were you trying to find a comfy couch?
No. I am addicted to the moped game.
No.
Yeah.
You're trying to get yourself a moped?
Another one, yeah.
Another one.
Since-
You had one?
Yeah.
In what
I forgot about
the
that.
8 or 9 years I've known you, you have talked about mopeds. Not once have I seen you on one.
Really?
I have.
No,
Have you
pull
ever
up or
seen him on a
shut up,
moped?
Braxton. No.
I've never seen him on.
Never seen
I've
you
never
on a
even seen you
moped.
with a moped.
Do you have a
Really?
picture of you
Yes.
on a moped? Pull it up. I don't believe you.
Yeah, that's Photoshop.
It's gonna be way back there. He's gotta go.
Have you ever seen a moped parked at any place where he's lived?
No.
Never seen him
At-
next to one.
At the Custer Street apartment. I had one for like 2 years.
All right, find it. We'll to be continued.
I've never seen
that,
him on the
so.
moped riding it.
But you know, it would be even better is if he had that, but then he was able to convince his dog to have the little dog goggles on there. That would be great. Happy International Corgi Day to you, Juan Magoo, by the way.
Little Mooksta.
To you, by the way. Any other random things while he's trying to fake find
Yeah,
his...
he's doing Photoshop right
yeah.
now.
Oh, sorry, it's just somewhere.
Do 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 do.
Not there.
Do. This is like me, like him on a moped is like me talking about I'm not gonna eat rice anymore.
You go next week. I'm not going to do
I'll
rice
delay,
anymore.
I'll delay it a week.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'll go ahead and get that Brian's Bowl. All rice, please.
Yeah.
All rice.
Actually, forget the meat and all the veggies. Just give me a cup of rice.
Just give me extra side of rice. We'll go full rice. That's your nemesis. Mine continues to be a nice pint of ice cream.
A Ben and J's.
A B&J's. All right. Well, while he's looking that up, because
He's probably just scrolling on Reels.
he really is. You know, I recently had to create an actual TikTok account because it realized that I didn't have one, and I've been scrolling for like the last however many years. But when I recently saw this TikTok video, I feel like I might give up the app completely. This video comes after they announced the TikTok ban. And so somehow the Gen Zers, the young ones, have decided that they are going to revolt. They are going to speak out against the fact that the U.S. government is trying to take away TikTok. And this is one of the videos that came out after the announcement of the TikTok ban.
U.S. government of America, you've made a big mistake. You think you can take away our app? Well, we are the most powerful generation that there ever was. We are Generation Z. We won't let TikTok fall. We will rise above it all. We will save TikTok. Time's running out. Can you hear the clock? Joe Biden, we are ready for war. You want us so bad, and now you want more. Who's with me?
I am.
There you go.
I want somebody to beat up that kid so badly.
Was that a boy?
Yeah, it was. It
I
sure
want someone to
was,
beat the
yeah.
shit out of that kid.
Yeah.
I don't want to be it.
This is right back to you saying that bullying should be fine. So
That was. There's
he's
no
still
words.
looking.
Yeah, that's how you know it's fake.
Come back
I don't
to
know. I don't know where this fucking photo went.
One photo.
us. That one photo, yeah. If you loved it so much, listen, I would love to see you on a moped this summer. Let's rent them.
That's it. I'm calling in reinforcements.
Who are you calling? If you're calling Matt,
I won't. Just hear me out.
all right.
You can cut it if you want. So
This is a trap.
I'm on the podcast, and I was talking about how much I want to get a moped, and Miguel said, in all the years that I've known you, you've talked about owning a moped so many times, but I've never seen you with a moped, and they don't believe that I've ever had one. Can you?
You definitely had one, and it was kind of a nice crimson color, and I remember the first time I ever got on it, I whiskey throttled it and almost crashed it, but that was another story. But you used to, when I was staying at your house on Custer Street, and we both worked at Vendors United, I would ride on the back of it together like Dumb and Dumber.
We would literally a 50cc moped. Me and Matt would jump on it together. And we would ride from work to Jimmy's at lunch.
I wish I had that. I wish I had some of the pictures.
You should look to see if you do, because I can't find any on my phone.
I will certainly look. But I mean, I would never wear a helmet because I was just riding on the back. But when you put that helmet on, boy,
I don't
all
believe.
of Multnomah Village is. I mean, you had to bring out the wet floor signs when you had this fucking helmet on.
I don't believe this because he's been on his phone for like the last 5 minutes looking for it, so he could have texted you to say back him up, and of course he was going to call you, and of course you were going to back him up.
All I'm saying is the moped era Braxton. We're talking, I'm not going to say names. We're talking post and pre. Those were radical times, man. And that moped, we would take it to work together.
Uh-huh.
Hey, buddy, you going to make some calls today? Yeah, $100. Let's get it going. And, we used to Dumb and Dumber that thing.
You're a good friend, Matt. That's what I got from this.
Okay.
You're a good friend.
Hey, Matt.
They still don't believe me.
Matt, is Lo around?
Is Lo around? Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Can I talk to her?
Yes.
All right, cool. I want to talk to Lo real quick.
Okay.
All right, well put it
Just
there.
a second.
All right, thank you.
Hey, Lauren, quickly. Peter wants to talk to you quickly. They're live on the podcast.
I have a radio question for you, Lo. Welcome to It Just Makes Sense.
Okay.
So you are a very famous radio host in Houston, the biggest country station in Houston. Is that right? Or at least, one of the best, the biggest.
I would say the biggest in the world, Peter.
Boom. What are your call letters?
Yeah. KKBQ. Write those down.
Nice. That is a pretty sweet call letter. Do you guys ever do like the second date update stuff?
He's asking me a question.
Yeah. Do you guys ever do?
My fiance really interrupted me while you were asking me a question.
Do you guys ever do the second date update stuff? Or War of the Roses, or any of those things where you bait people into admitting that they're cheating on their significant others?
So we never did the War of the Roses, but we do second date update frequently.
And all that's and all those are paid actors, right?
No.
Good answer. Good answer.
Good job, Lo.
I have been enjoying your videos talking about how you are preparing to get married, and you're just all of the things that come around with it. So keep up the amazing work. We love you.
Thanks, guys. Love you too.
All right. Well,
All right,
that's
love
all
you,
I
Lo.
had for you.
That's enough abuse for one day.
Yeah. All right.
But when we go on back to, if we're going to talk about radio stuff,
No, we're
remember
not.
that time? So we had this guy that worked at Zones.
Okay.
Was me and Braxton.
Okay.
And he used to be a producer for Delilah.
Oh, a Delilah
and
producer.
I was mentioning one day that I was like, hey, it was just off cuff. Like, I was just like, you know who's a big radio legend? Not Howard Stern. It's fucking Delilah. And he's like, what? And so he turns around and he goes, I used to produce for Delilah. And he was kind of a new guy. So I was like, whatever. And then the next thing I know, like the next week, I get an entire box filled with signed Delilah merch.
Nice.
Like a signed personal letter.
Do you get some Delilah panties?
No, well, maybe.
Answer that live on air.
I'm not gonna come out and say it, but maybe.
Okay, Matt. Matt, I have one more question for you. Matt, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Would
yes,
you
what's up?
rather have a half suck twice or no suck?
A half suck twice or no suck?
Yeah.
It depends on what I'm sucking.
Well, what you're sucking?
That's called a Shyamalan twist. It's a M. Night Shyamalan twist.
It
right.
depends on
Love
when
you,
you
Matt.
get the hell
Thank you.
out of here. All right. I was not anticipating him
Depends
determining
on what I'm
sucking.
He Shyamalan twisted the shit out of you.
Woo!
All right.
Those
Sorry.
second date updates in War of the Roses are such
You
garbage.
tried to trap low, and she didn't fall for it.
No, of course not.
That's a real professional. Did you know that she won a pretty incredible award?
Oh, I saw she was up for like a best radiocaster or something like that. Did she win
won.
that?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Congratulations,
Yeah,
Lo.
she's incredible.
KKBQ, is that
She
what it
get
was?
recruited out of Portland to be to host the Houston one.
She got recruited out of San Antonio.
Oh.
Yeah, she went from Portland to San Antonio to Houston.
Yeah, and she's killing it.
Yeah, Lo and I used to work at the same radio station way
Yeah.
back in the day, so
Lo is like
so
double A
cool.
top tier person.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
So
Matt,
awesome.
he's all right.
Yeah, we're around for the intel on the radios. So, well, congrats, Lo, even though I didn't tell it to you a while ago when it probably happened. So I saw that it was happening, but there you go.
Yeah. But the moped's real. That's the really the crux of this story.
We shall see.
I will find that photo because there is a photo of me on the moped given the shaka, and I will send it to you guys.
I'd be shocked if I saw the shaka.
By that, like a week later, I'm gonna believe it even less.
Yeah, I know. Plenty of time to manipulate photos.
I'm kind of offended.
I'm offended that you've been lying to us this whole time. I haven't seen you next to a moped.
Now
it is a weird thing to lie about,
Yeah.
but yeah, you are lying about it. So
Well, now that this actually is a good thing because you're giving me more drive to buy one.
ooh, nice double entendre there. Drive a moped. I would love to ride mopeds with you. I could get into a moped.
There's
era.
a couple that are selling two,
Ooh,
Yeah, they're tandem mopeds.
and they're only 50.
I want to see that. That's
Yeah,
They're only
sounds good.
50 cc. You don't need like a motorcycle's license or whatever.
we could just boogie on over to each other's houses.
Yeah.
I'll be a
can
bullseye.
As long as I can store mine in your garage during the winter.
Okay, sure. You got it.
Okay.
You got it.
Say less, fam.
Say less, fam, to the fact that it is the NBA Finals, by the way.
Yeah, not until fucking what?
Later on this week.
Yeah.
Thursday,
2 days.
Friday. Yeah, we still got time. Not the best time for the NBA to have a nice little week-long lull, but that's what they had to deal with there with the scheduling the way it was, both the sweep and the gentleman's sweep that occurred in the previous series, the script writers writing the Celtics versus the Kyrie Irvings. So
The NHL just got all the focus this last few days.
they did, yeah. When
Stanley
you have
Cup.
the Oilers and the Florida Panthers. What I saw was the battle between the women flashing the cameras. There was a big old debate about.
Oh, those
That-
were
yeah.
some.
Those are big ass titties.
Well, not big ass titties, like really, really nice.
Yeah, they were great. They were great. Go look it up. We're not going to show it to you
They
here.
got to be fake, right? Yeah, they were.
They did not look fake.
Oh.
Usually, you can from the angle that I saw, you would have been able to see some scars.
According to my calculations on the bounce rate,
The annexation of Puerto Rico. There's no scars on the left side.
we shall return to our regularly scheduled programming before we get banned on the YouTube. The Celtics and Mavericks. I mean, we all saw it was going to go that way. Obviously, the Celtics, a big favorite, especially in Game 1 and throughout the series, a 6.5-point favorite to open Game 1. And then kind of overall, how are we feeling about the series going? Is it, at this point, the Celtics, they can't necessarily do anything about their team and their roster if they lose again in the NBA Finals. They're strapped to these guys. But gosh, it's just like who
So
needs
is
it
that,
more?
Is it that conversation of how on the scale of on the disappointment scale of 0 to 100, how disappointing would this be if they don't win the championship?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I suppose comparatively as well to the Mavericks.
I think that it's really just it's the Celtics series to lose. That's kind of at least what I've been saying since we made that bet, is that this is the Celtics championship to lose. And I think that it's still the case. And people can say, oh, they had such an easy road, injuries, yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, you play who's in front of you, and they've done a really good job of that. I think they've lost a total of, 3 games in the entire playoffs? There's no doubt that they're the best team in the NBA record-wise.
Saying that it's theirs to lose has been established since the beginning of the season. I'm saying in the disappointment scale, if they don't win, where does this rank as the biggest letdown?
It would be pretty huge.
Like, is it really high up there where it's like, could you improve this roster anymore?
Yeah,
with your current stars, is there any tweaks you could do if you don't win? And how are people going to look at this? Like, you paid Tatum, you paid Brown, you got Drew Holiday, you got Porzingis.
Porzingis is back, by the way, for game 1.
But if you don't win, is it like,
and you've got,
do we crumble?
You've got
it's
Derek
like,
White. You've got,
how can we improve?
There's just no way.
So I feel like it's up there with how much of a letdown this will be if they don't win.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, maybe your answer there is fire the coach because people have been critical of Joe Mazzulla. There's that. And his game management, he would be the one to take the fall there.
He would be the only one because you have one of the best GMs in Brad Stevens right now.
Yeah, for sure.
You have a great roster. What else could you point the finger on?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about, it's up there, but in a way, I just also wouldn't be shocked. Would you? Would you be shocked?
Not if you're playing Luka and Kyrie.
Yeah.
I don't think you would be shocked in that aspect of it.
In
but
that vein, yeah.
Overall, the Celtics have been favorites since opening day.
It's not a shock that, the last 3 years, Boston opens up a plus 550 favorite as a preseason to go to the NBA Finals and win it, and then every time they've just kind of
going
let you
into
down,
this playoffs, outside of Denver, I think that Dallas was probably the second team that you're kind of like, oh, they have the 2 stars, they've got experience on the roster. I think that from the beginning, outside of Denver, this was the team that was kind of like, okay, let's keep an eye on them.
Dallas, honestly, from following the NBA, Dallas wasn't looked at for a few reasons.
Seed. Yeah, for one, they were.
They were not. People didn't take them seriously until they beat the Clippers, because they didn't know how Luka and Kyrie would mesh together in the playoffs. Until the Clippers were bigger favorites than they were, but when they beat the Clippers, people started paying attention to them, and then. Even when they got to the Wolves series, they're like, how are they going to perform?
Sure.
And then they killed them, and now it's like, oh, is this for real? Like, are we about to see them dethrone the Boston Celtics?
And a guy who has absolutely dominated the 2024 playoffs, Luka Doncic, first in points, rebounds, assists, steals, field goals made, 3 points made, free throws made. This has never been done entering the finals before until Luka Doncic did it. And obviously, you are able to, win the Western Conference. You take down, there's no Joker in this series as well. So everyone's looking at Luka as.
But you took down the team that took down Joker.
Exactly, yeah.
I love Jason Tatum so much. I don't want the Celtics to win a championship.
Tatum right now, the presumptive favorite to win NBA Finals MVP.
My love for Tatum goes from Duke.
Sure,
but if I'm gonna find myself reasons as to why I don't want the Celtics to win a championship, and I'm cheering for Dallas, I would take the 2 Duke players in Dallas to outweigh my love for Tatum.
Sure, okay.
Because especially with how people have been kind of burying Kyrie Irving in the last few years, I would like to see that redemption story.
You would love to see that type of redemption story, despite the fact that Tatum is your guy, is a bigger Duke name.
I've always talked like positively about Kyrie Irving. I've never waned from
I've
never wavered from Kyrie. He's my guy too, and I love Derek Lively. He's another Duke guy. There's really I know people have different opinions on Luka. There's not one unlikable player from the Dallas Mavericks to me.
I saw a video of Derek Lively showing off. He was on TikTok showing off all of his different Lego.
Derek Lively is one.
I love this guy, just like with all of his Lego sets.
Doesn't he have the Millennium Falcon?
He does, yeah. He's got the freaking
Titanic.
He's got everything.
Yeah.
Derek Lively
It's hilarious.
Has been through a lot. It's hard to judge how you a person from watching them on TV, but that guy seems genuinely like a good dude.
Sure.
And he's cool, and he's been through a lot. When he went to Duke, he was the number 1 player out of high school. He goes to Duke, he gets hurt. And his first game back was either Carolina or the game before, and then he balled out. But he was same way Harry Giles came in, and because of injuries, he wasn't the same player. And then Derek Lively's mom has been battling cancer for several years, and his mom died during the playoff series.
Oh, no.
I think against the Clippers. You didn't know that?
No,
I
missed that.
So she's been battling cancer for 4 or 5 years. During the Clippers series, she passed away.
Damn.
And he's been he didn't take any games off, and he's been balling out. And then Dallas with Cuban did a special tribute to his mom on the big screen before the start of the Timberwolves series.
Wild. Yeah. Well, I mean, he does seem like a good dude. And
his mom was a VP for Nike. They were from here.
So, there goes my headphones. So, are you then saying that you want
Dallas?
So your bet's still going?
Yeah. In fact, I was going to bring that up.
Rehash it. Bring it back up for the listeners.
So it's
who
a
don't know.
$50 bet, right?
No, it's a $20 bet, 3-1.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
There's nothing else we could do with the wager because it's a 3-1. $20 bet. There's nothing to add to it.
I suppose what you could do is start taking numbers of games in a series.
We could double down,
but it's easier to add to this bet if it was a straight bet. But 3-1, what am I doing? Another 20 for if it ends in 6 or whatever, or if Boston gets swept or something like that.
You think it's a short or a long series?
I think it'll be long. Yeah. I just don't think there's anything interesting that could be added to the bet because it's a 3-1 bet to start with.
Yeah,
I feel that.
But the only thing I could wager would be with you if you're willing, but you've lost a few bets.
Yeah, I have not done so well these days. And I'm not necessarily willing to say that this is going to be a quick series either.
No, I don't think it will be.
No, it's definitely going 6 minimum.
I mean, if Boston is able to, do this quickly or something,
the matchups are super interesting.
Yeah,
who do you think is going to cover Tatum?
I don't know.
Probably PJ Washington.
Yeah,
you're going to have Horford and Porzingis as your big, so that's going to be Lively and Gafford. Who's going to cover Kyrie? Drew Holiday, because Drew's going to be too small for Luka.
Right.
Yeah, I think the biggest mismatch is whoever's going to cover Luka.
It's going to be Jaylen Brown. They're going to have to put one of their stars on Luka if they're willing to defend, because Derek White would be too small. Drew Holiday would be too small.
Do they go big on that?
They have to go big because Luka's going to take him. One of the best things he does is how he goes from full speed to a full stop and traps you behind him.
And then steps back and buries you.
Yeah, because then it's like a car in front of you that traps you to rear end them.
Right.
He's so good at just stopping on a dime.
He does that shit
and he traps you because it's like the same way that I hated Harden for playing within the rules, but playing to his advantage with the whole swipe like Kevin Durant did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, until this is banned, Luka is fucking mastering it.
The run and
they're gonna
stop,
ban it.
Yeah.
They're gonna ban it because it used to be like, as an offensive player, you can't lean in to the defender anymore. But this is just another version of that he's perfected.
Yeah.
He'll trap you behind them and then he'll shoot.
He'll break check you.
Yeah. It's insane how good he is at that.
Yeah, the break check.
I just think they have to put a bigger guy on him because he will wipe the floor with Derek White. They'll have to put Jaylen Brown, and I think it'd be Jaylen Brown because they're not going to put Tatum on him.
And when you think about how the Mavericks do this, if they're able to do it, they have to make a statement in Game 1. They absolutely have to take Game 1 to be able to assert their dominance within this series, to put the pressure on Boston. I know that that's like such a obvious statement here, but I mean, it's like, in order for a team that has been hot in the way that Boston has, in the hostile environment in which it will be, with Kyrie returning to Boston in the NBA, just like all of that pomp and circumstance, all of the storylines headed around it, like to absolutely, you're not going to shut Boston fan up, but to, rattle them a little bit. Because, I mean, we saw this when it happened with Denver too. Denver wasn't thinking that they were walking into Game 2 against Minnesota thinking, oh yeah, we're just going to tie this up and it's going to be fine and we'll take one back from them. All of a sudden they saw themselves down 2-0, right? And I know that those are different series, but I think it can get away from you fast.
I think the factors that would decide the series are, number one, are the bigs. I think the matchup with Porzingis, Horford, and Gafford and Lively. I think who dominates that with rebounding and just blocking the paint and clogging the paint will win. Also, if even for 1 minute Kyrie lets Boston fans in his head and it fucks him up, it's game over. Because he's still that guy. And, I can't blame him for being affected, but these are some of the most ruthless fucking racist fans around. If he lets him get in his head and he doesn't play his game, that's not good for Dallas. I think he needs to just be laser focused, not tune everybody out, because there will be people there that will say some shit that could rattle.
No bulletin board material types of stuff, for sure. You think that he'll feed into it? Do either of you think that he'll feed into it?
I don't know. I hope not. That's what I'm hoping. I think that would be a game changer.
Guys love to try and find a chip on your shoulder, but that can backfire.
Yeah. I'm also concerned, like Miguel said, with Porzingis coming back. I mean, he's coming back into the NBA Finals off of, a couple weeks not playing at all.
It's been a minute.
And obviously he's practicing, but we all know that game speed is different than practice speed. It's a whole different
right.
ballgame.
And his injury was pretty non-contact when it happened too. I mean, I think initially people thought that he freaking blew his Achilles out when that happened.
Honestly, I think if you're a Boston fan, your concern isn't him being able to catch up with game speed. I think it's the chemistry.
Yeah, that too. Absolutely.
They have found a rotation without him when he went down that works. How are you going to insert him in the rotation, and will it affect your chemistry that's been working?
I think that there's a big concern, too, about whether or not, your two guys in Tatum and Brown can give you 60 a night, if not more. Because, I mean, we've seen that in the past where, one guy will dip out and it's just bad news bears for those guys. I mean, conversely on the other side, like we saw Kyrie run a little bit cold for a game or two in the last series for the Mavericks, but I mean, still, you need your stars to be stars. Cliche upon cliche, but that's just what needs to happen right
I think
now.
It's fair for people to think and say, because numbers speak for themselves, that Boston is the team to beat, and Boston is the scary side of this. But don't forget that the number one defensive team in this entire season was the Minnesota Timberwolves. And Dallas ate them the fuck up. I mean, that was a team that stopped everyone, including the defending champions. and Luka and Kyrie had no problems with them. Zero problems with them.
So, and they're a team that has, taken teams deep. They've played tough games. I mean, again, Braxton, to your point where you're talking about how Boston has only lost 3 games in the playoffs, is this similar to like a March Madness situation where you're like a Gonzaga? And I hate to compare those two, but it's like a team that
You haven't lost enough?
you haven't lost enough. Like, have you gotten punched in the mouth enough in the playoffs to be able to deal with that adversity? Should Luka do what Luka does? All of a sudden, Kyrie is destroying you, and all those boo birds go silent, and you have absolutely no momentum.
I think the difference too, if you're focusing on just the 2 stars from each team, the reason I would give Dallas a small edge is the 2 stars from Boston are pure scorers. So if they're off, they're off. You better figure this shit out.
Yeah.
In Dallas, if Luka is off from scoring, guess what? He can affect the game by dishing out 15 dimes and grabbing boards.
And spread the floor.
Kyrie, same way. He's a point guard. He brings the ball up. He can dish out assists. He can get people open. I think that's the difference between those two. Because if Luka and Kyrie are off, they've shown it. They can affect the game in other ways, and they would still win.
Yeah, I think that you could argue that you take all the players on the floor, and Luka is the best player on the floor, all around. And so if you're...
The same way you look at Jokic. It doesn't look like it from an athletic ability, but in numbers and stat sheet, it's him.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I do think that, at least for me, that draws a little bit of concern with our bet. And, because I've been high on the Celtics this whole year, that is one thing that concerns me, is that they do have the best player.
The one thing, and for me, I know it's not a one-for-one comparison, but, I liked that Bucks team a few years ago where it felt like you had a couple of superstars, great role players. It feels like you have, again, not a one-for-one comparison, but like great stars, awesome role players with Dallas again. And I know that, like,
both of these teams are
that's what I was
pretty
gonna say.
fucking even when it comes to having perfect pieces around them.
Yeah, I guess for me, I'm thinking that like there's more like name recognition to the role players on Boston. Maybe not as much on the
because
on the Dallas side.
You can kind of spread it out in how they contribute. The thing is with Boston, you're right. You have a Drew Holiday who's a great defender, but Drew Holiday can score 30.
Sure can.
Derek White put up 37 one night against whoever they were playing the last series. That's not the case with PJ Washington or whoever the other guys are in Dallas. But they make up for it by being longer and better defenders than the other two.
Sure.
But yeah, scoring-wise, I mean, it's like scoring touchdowns. It's what people, the spotlight is on you when you're a great scorer because that's what people pay attention to.
You have 2 black head coaches coaching in the NBA Finals. I know that's happened a couple of other times, but at least wanted to make sure that was noted. Also to note, Jason Kidd, the last time that the Mavericks were in the Finals, he was the starting point guard for that team, so I thought that was kind of interesting, which kind of leads me, maybe this is the wrong link. It is the wrong link. 1 second, let me find it in my notes
Was that
here.
2011?
Yeah, I think so.
So when they won last, because they haven't been back in the finals since they won.
So I saw this Sports Center put this up, which was all in their primes. Which Celtics Mavs duo are you taking? Are you taking Luka with Dirk? Or KD Kevin Garnett with Jason Tatum? If you were to have those combos, both in their prime,
tough, bro.
Would you have Kevin Garnett, Jason Tatum, or Luka Dirk?
That's tough.
I might go KG and Jason Tatum. Well, I guess like later on, like Dirk eventually, because I was thinking it was like, oh, well, Dirk would also be on the perimeter with Luka, but Dirk only went a little bit further out as he got older.
Tell you what, the combination of Tatum, Kevin Garnett is scary, but I think I might have to go Luka Dirk.
Would you?
Just because the attention that Luka would get would open up Dirk even more.
Sure.
And it would just be a nightmare for teams to defend. Okay, do you double Luka, then you leave Dirk open. Do you double Dirk and you leave Luka open? Both those guys are capable of dropping 40 on you. Kevin Garnett will camp in the block. So you could figure out a way to clog the paint and stop him somehow, and you can just have one of them beat you.
But he will be aggressive down there. He'll be an enforcer. He'll be kind of a bully ball type of a guy.
I think this comes down to the same old argument when you're taking players from different generations. Which game are they playing? Are they playing today's NBA game?
Sure.
Or are they playing Kevin Garnett's NBA game?
Right.
Because if we're talking early 2000s or 90s, I'd take the top. I'd take Jason Tatum and Kevin Garnett.
Right.
But Kevin Garnett is not a three-point shooter, so I would take the bottom
for sure,
today's
because Dirk was, on the kind of early end of this newer school of
big guys.
Stretch fours, dagger threes from the top. Oh, my God. You just knew somehow. It's kind of like how Travis Kelce somehow always gets open. Dirk was always a guy that you knew was somewhere in the very top of, just straight on three with the game on the line, and somehow he always got the ball, and he always hit you with a freaking dagger three. It just destroyed you every time.
Imagine having to defend a 7-footer who shoots fadeaway jumpers.
I'd prefer not to.
It's the same way that no one could defend Rasheed Wallace.
Yeah.
It's like he's 6'11", and he is fading away. There's no way you could block it. You just kind of have to deal with it.
I feel like someone recently was saying that if Rasheed came into today's NBA that he'd be a top 5 player. But I'm not sure exactly who said that. Well, if we want to talk about bully ball, I was just talking about bully ball here recently. Old school NBA as well. It kind of feels like the WNBA has some old school backyard basketball type of vibes going on. Obviously, there's a lot of things that have happened in the last week, especially with. Did you find a photo?
I found a
Hold
photo.
on. Okay, let's pause.
Just check it. He honestly, if you watch his video, he's been on his phone for half of it. Just check it.
Let me see this here. All right.
Oh, that's a different guy.
It's a good cutout. Yeah, I know.
Exactly the photo I was explaining.
Whatever.
There was
Took you
enough
that
time
long.
for you to Photoshop something.
Anyways,
the WNBA is where I was going with this, and bully ball, getting a lot of attention, obviously with the hard foul that Kennedy Carter laid.
Kennedy.
Well, it's Kennedy.
Kennedy.
Is it? It's not Kennedy. It's spelled Kennedy.
Kennedy.
But it's
Bet on it. Bet a shot on it.
It's very much Kennedy.
Bet a shot on it then. Before we.
Are you
continue the
actually
argument.
thinking it's Kennedy? You're serious?
I've heard Kennedy.
Really?
Do one shot.
Well, are we gonna have to look it up now?
Yeah, after you shake
How
on
she
one
says
shot.
it? Like,
yeah,
she'll
after you
have
shake
to-
on one shot.
All right, let's see if I can
Let's
find
gamble
her.
It's called live bets.
Let's see if I can find her saying it. If not, we'll have to.
I'm not part of the bet, but I'm gonna go with Kennedy because I don't see anyone
It's
spelling it
spelled
with
Kennedy.
CH and saying Kennedy.
Let's
I just don't see that happening.
Well, maybe the broadcast will say it.
Yep.
That was on the broadcast. Well, we can all agree on Carter. All right.
I thought it was Charter.
Kennedy Charter.
Kennedy Charter.
We will look it up.
Well,
The early
we're-
results
we're-
is that
we're
we've
gonna
got.
do a deeper dive.
Yeah,
into
we'll do a
that.
deeper
We need more
dive.
proof.
Yes.
So Kennedy Carter laying the smackdown on Caitlin Clark, which sparked a lot of debate over whether or not it should, whether it was too hard of a foul or that they're picking on Caitlin Clark and everything, omitting the fact that Angel Reese just like a week earlier got absolutely body slammed to the ground. The WNBA is no joke and I am not one who has seen a ton of WNBA basketball, but I know the level of physicality that occurs, that exists in the WNBA. It's just for new Caitlin Clark fans who don't seem to understand. They're fighting in the WNBA finals. They don't even give a shit about the circumstance that it is. Your thoughts?
I don't see anything wrong, to be honest. I think that there's just a lot more eyes on the WNBA right now, which is a positive thing. But I think that we've got too many woke, unexperienced sports fans who are
turning it into race.
Yeah, turning it into race, throwing their arms up. And it's like, listen, when sports are good, it's because people disagree on them and because they get emotional. The reason why the NFL is as popular as it is because you have middle-aged dudes arguing over Twitter and screaming at each other figuratively over nothing, over bullshit. So I think that having this reaction and doing these kind of, I don't know what you would call them, these like major pieces that these sports writers are putting together.
These columns.
Exactly. Saying, trying to make this like, I don't know. They're just trying to be woke about it.
Yeah, the Chicago Tribune said that if that happened on the street, it would be assault. And it was like, well, hold on. Like, why don't you watch any hockey game? Like, I mean, those guys checking each other into the boards would be assault every time, right?
In any sport, it would, those things would be assault.
Yeah. I think overall, it's a hugely positive thing. We're talking about it. Everyone's talking about it.
Exactly.
It's in highlights because of people like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Cardoso, all the newcomers, Cameron Brink.
Right.
They have brought eyes into the WNBA, but there's so many takes. Is it the white privilege of Caitlin Clark?
Sure.
Angel Reese got body slammed the week before. There was nothing about it. Angel Reese celebrated when Caitlin Clark was fouled hard. Whatever. My problem isn't with any of it. My problem is I'm looking at it just as someone who played sports. If my teammate gets knocked down, you better step the fuck up and punch that dude in the mouth.
Yeah. Totally agree.
She doesn't have one single teammate step up for her.
No enforcers, yeah,
I don't,
sure.
Like if Draymond Green punched one of my teammates, I'm coming after him.
They've got no offense to Leah Boston, but like Leah Boston's not coming up and...
You didn't do shit. So to me, it shows not just the entire league, but including her own team, it's a little bit of jealousy. And I don't think, and this is maybe an extra hot take that whatever, I don't think it's race. I think this is a women thing. I think they're catty, they fight unfair, and they're jealous of her because she's getting all the attention.
Yeah.
And she's making millions of dollars.
I mean, she walks in to the WNBA with a $28 million shoe deal, and there's a lot of people, and I think that when you kind of think about the jealousy side of things or whatever, it's like, okay, you're coming into this league and you have not earned anything. You haven't earned our respect. You haven't earned that type of notoriety because you haven't taken a single... the ball hasn't been thrown up in a single WNBA game. So they're welcoming her to the WNBA
Yeah, and I think that's fair. There's some sort of initiation. And I don't want what I said to be taken the wrong way. People will, but when I say that, I just mean who hates on women more than anyone else? Other women. You know what I'm talking about?
I feel you. Yeah, no, for sure.
They're catty and they're like, well, fuck that girl. Like, no one hates outside of misogynistic fucking men. I'm talking about it's girls that's always against other girls.
Girl on girl violence.
It's always girl on girl violence.
Yeah.
Talking shit, fucking clowning you or whatever. It's always girls on girls, and that's what I see in the WNBA.
I think that I think it's probable that one would see this in any league where you have not just whether it is man, woman, or if it is a, what is multi, if it's both, right? What am I thinking?
Co-ed?
Co-ed, thank
Yes.
you. Whether it's co-ed, is that, you have a lot of people who are saying, I've put in the work, this game was like this before you, and now people are just starting to pay attention, and it's a bit unfair that that people are saying that you're getting the short end of it, or that we're both this has been like this. We have built this up to this point. We deserve some accolades or some notoriety or whatever, and we're feeling slighted is how I feel.
Yeah, the way I look at it is the WNBA in all competitive professional sports has always been gritty. People, they are there to win. That's why they're in this position. And all of a sudden, because there's more viewership, they're trying to enforce their point of view on this sport and on these women. And it's listen, this is Caitlin Clark isn't saying anything. Nobody's complaining. Angel Reese isn't complaining about how she got tossed during that game. It's because they understand that this is part of the sport. Don't take your, all of a sudden because I'm paying attention to this and it's become a more popularized sport, you should do things the way that I want to them to be seen. I don't agree with that. Let the girls play. If they don't have a problem with it, why the fuck should you? This is good, hard, competitive, professional play.
And I think it would be more of an issue if Caitlin Clark was crying about it, but she's not. This is the media pushing why hurt her? She's bringing you money. She's putting you on chartered flights and all this shit. But initiation happens in every sport. Jordan got beat up.
Sure.
And it's you earn it. So everything that's happening to me, it's positive.
Agreed.
Those girls, they're doing exactly what they're supposed to. Just because you're Caitlin Clark and you're providing us with more opportunities doesn't mean we're going to let you win. We're going to make you earn it. That's fine.
And the thing is that Caitlin Clark and any WNBA player in their rookie season or even in their first few years are learning what they can and can't do in the context of the WNBA, right? You have the NCAA game where you were just kind of able to do WNBA saying that hole's not open. You can't do that.
It's
here.
A different beast.
And she makes it, Caitlin Clark makes it look worse because she's putting herself in those positions, possibly.
I mean, it's a trial by error. She's learning the game, same way that Angel Reese is learning the game, same way that Cameron Brink is learning the game, and all these new girls. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to. They're not bitching and crying and moaning about it. Caitlin Clark's not getting up going, oh, that's assault. No, she's taking it.
Sure.
The problem are the fucking vets on her team. She's not supposed to react. You are.
Right.
You're supposed to stand up for that rookie.
Your quarterback gets hit, your offensive
You
lineman
better fucking, I don't give a shit what the consequences are. You see red. If someone knocks off Caitlin Clark and puts her on her ass, you better step the fuck up and stand up for her.
Yeah.
No one on her team is doing that. That's my gripe with this whole thing.
Well, and the thing is, it happened against Chicago, right? And that was a team that we were talking about, holy shit, that is a team of enforcers coming into this season.
They're going to knock you down.
They're going to knock you down. They are going to be one of the most physical teams because of the people on that team. And so, yeah, I totally agree. When it comes to, your quarterback gets knocked down, you as an offensive lineman, anyone on your team, you knock that person back. You get the technical, you get flag, you get thrown out, but, you need to protect your person. But, I mean, I do think that there is kind of this old guard, new guard type of a thing where I'm not saying you should be appreciative of this, but I mean when it comes to the opportunities that will open up because of this, I I think that some of that criticism has been unfair because it's just like, hey, like, look at what is being done for the sport at this point.
I understand what these new girls, especially Caitlin Clark, is bringing to the sport. Like everyone talking about it, but if you're one of those athletes in the WNBA, you're a competitor. You're not thinking about that in the middle of the fucking game.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about the private jets that she's provided because of her name.
For sure.
You're not thinking about. You're thinking about playing, and if anything, you're thinking about proving that you're fucking better.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what it is. It's just, again, I have zero problems with anything except her teammates not standing up for it. That is my biggest problem.
Agreed.
That's my biggest problem. That always takes me back to when Patrick Beverley was walking behind Chris Paul and he shoved him when Chris Paul wasn't looking. DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, none of those fucking pussies did anything. Nothing. I'm like, you're not thinking about consequences, or if you're going to be thought of as a violent player, let me punch you in the fucking mouth, get suspended, get fined. I'm not going to do it again.
Sure.
But at least
nobody's going to do it again.
Nobody's going to do it again because they know I have your back. And you've also taught the other players on your team, like, you didn't do shit. You better step up next time this happens.
Yeah. I do think that, and I totally agree. I hadn't thought of it in that context before, but I 1,000% agree.
Yeah.
For me as well, I just think that, like, allow someone like Caitlin Clark to carry that torch. Right. And again, but to your point where you go, okay, that's all well and good. Thanks for that chartered flight. Thanks for the more money here, for the upgraded paycheck. But now it's time to put up or shut up. Like, the ball is tipped off. Like, let's go toe to toe.
Yeah.
We're between the lines.
Yeah, you're
it's
between
time to
the
go.
lines. Yeah.
It's also weird to me that people are constantly bringing that up. And maybe it's because, a year ago, we're talking about, there's people saying, well, if you lower the rims, we'll watch, whatever.
Right.
But now it's like, we're watching a real game. We don't have stupid opinions like lowering the rims. We're just watching something that exists, like a normal sporting event. But how come it's always brought up? Like, look at what Caitlin Clark is doing for you. Like, how many times was that ever a conversation? Look at Jordan, the face of the NBA. Look at what he's doing for us.
Yeah, about him.
We got the fucking swoosh on our jerseys because of Michael Jordan. No. If anything, Charles Oakley wanted to elbow him in the fucking mouth. And he knew.
Yeah.
Bill Laimbeer wanted to knock him on his ass. And he knew. It's just, this is going to be painted right now the way it is. They're going to move on from it. It's going to be normal. And everything will kind of get ironed out and evened out. But again, any publicity is good publicity.
Sure. Yeah, and I think you make a great point. And I'm not trying to compare directly as far as talent or whatever, Michael Jordan to Caitlin Clark. But the fact of the matter is before Michael Jordan, the NBA was not what it is today. Obviously, you had the Magic Johnsons, the Larry Birds, all of those guys who had kind of built it up. But the fact is that
made it marketable.
MJ made the NBA worldwide attention. He made it marketable. He made it so you could sell shoes, you could sell sports drinks, you could sell all these things because of a player. And I think Caitlin Clark is doing that same thing. And Michael Jordan went through that same turmoil. People wanted him to fail. Every single player who was playing against him wanted to do everything that they could to make him feel the pain, to make him feel, because whether that's jealousy, competitiveness, whatever you want to fucking call it, it is what it is. And they're experiencing the same thing with Caitlin Clark. But guess what? That experience that happened with Michael Jordan has done incredible things for the NBA and put them on a trajectory to where they're, the number 2 sport in America, that's for sure. And why is the thing that pisses me off is these think pieces that a lot of the media are doing, saying, oh, this is bad for the WNBA, this is bad for sports, we need to protect Caitlin Clark, she's done so much, let's give her flowers. Fuck that. She doesn't want that. She wants to fucking win. That's why she's there.
I was going to say, that's the only thing that would make this whole situation bad is if Caitlin Clark isn't who we think she is. Is it if she started crying to the media about what's happening? That's the only thing that would make this bad. Other than that, she's taking it on the fucking chin.
She is.
And it's only good. At the end of the day, this is only good for the WNBA. We're talking about it. Everybody's fucking talking about it. This sport will only continue to grow from here.
If I may offer a counterpoint.
Yeah,
no,
this
thank
is
you.
media. The problem here is the media, which is what you're going to support.
No. It's that I think that some of we need to put Caitlin Clark in a bubble is because of how she's the golden child. If you injure her, if she is out, she rolls her ankle, she tears her knee up. Do all of a sudden your numbers go all the way down? My sense would be yes. That overall, your numbers, people are saying like, okay, like numbers when Caitlin Clark is in attendance are over 17,000. When she's not, it's like 8,000, right? You're drawing double the amount of people. You're drawing all this extra viewership and everything.
So how do you suppose you make that happen?
What do you mean?
You don't play her
that's
to
the thing.
keep her from being injured?
No, I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying that I think is part of the call to like ease up on it. I'm not saying I agree with it, but if you bully ball her, I've used bully ball too much today, but that's the only word. If you are too aggressive on your golden child and then she is out all of a sudden, there's no reason for you to watch. That's the concern. I'm not saying I agree with that. The
first person that would disagree with you would be Caitlin Clark.
Probably.
She'll tell you to shut the fuck up and play me like a normal player. That's what a competitive athlete like that would tell you.
I am in 100% agreement with that. I am offering the counterpoint of what I believe those people are saying, is that you ruin your prized possession, you wreck the car. What's the point of participating in the race if you wreck the car?
But then you devalue the car completely by not driving it.
True.
Not showing its capabilities. Michael Jordan went and played fucking minor league baseball for a year.
Yeah.
Is the NBA okay?
Jordan also got hurt for a good stint in the 80s for an entire season. It didn't affect the league.
Injuries.
His name is already in it.
Injuries are a part of sports.
They are.
They're going to happen regardless of whether you control this type of stuff, bubble her up, or whatever.
Right, and injuries will happen, and I understand that. I think that's part of where that
if
reaction
you tell
is coming
players
from.
to like go easy, that might actually risk her more for an injury.
For sure.
Absolutely. And I think that it, again, devalues the product. Because if once the consumer and the viewer, I love that you're still wearing that as a blanket.
Yeah, the whole episode. Do you want that?
I'm good,
all right,
probably.
he's fine.
Thank you, though.
Yeah.
But if you think that the viewer won't notice that you're bubble wrapping her,
right?
You're stupid. It's the 21st century.
Yeah, don't call a foul every time, because then what? You want to just see Caitlin Clark at the line every time? No one wants to see that.
Especially after what has occurred. That clip of her getting body checked has got to have been viewed multiple millions of times.
Yeah, for sure.
The amount of exposure and talk across sports media that's gotten. Do you think all of a sudden they're going to say, hey, don't touch her? No.
There's celebrities going to WNBA games. There's celebrities going to Indy to go watch her.
I mean, we're the biggest sports podcast there is, and we've talked about it for 20 minutes.
Yeah, even bigger than Pat McAfee,
I think ultimately she's doing fine. I'm pretty sure she just won like Rookie of the Month, and she's averaging like
18 points a game,
17 something, 6 rebounds and 5 assists.
Yeah, setting WNBA records, Indiana Fever records, and all that. Do you guys have an issue with Pat McAfee referring to Caitlin Clark as that white bitch?
I think it's all about context.
I do agree as well.
And if you look at the whole clip, I don't think there's any negativity behind that comment.
Yeah, I think there's so many ways you could twist it. If it was somebody else saying it, if it was a black dude saying it, or if he said it about a black girl, it'd be all different. But it's like you know what you're getting from him. It's just, did you say that on purpose? Because you know what
what it was
today's
gonna do.
society is
You
like.
knew what it was
You know
gonna
what's
do.
coming.
You knew how people were going to
That
take
wasn't
it out
by
of
accident.
context. Yeah, for sure. And I think that and again, she is offered to be on the show weekly. He's in Indiana. I think that you hear the full clip, and he's calling her that white bitch as if a guy were to say, I'm him, right? He's basically saying, like, she's him. But if he said she's him, then it would be this whole thing about, like, why does it have to be a him or why all that other stuff. So I think it's just like
she's that bitch,
right? That exactly right. And I think that's and again, I understand that there's like such sensitivity around talking about women's sports, black-white issues, all of that, and how the political correctness.
There will
surrounding
always be
it.
people that would
And
get
there
mad.
always will.
No matter what.
Yeah, for sure. And that's just kind of how,
Just live life like Charles Barkley. Say what the fuck you want to say, because you're going to piss somebody off no matter what.
The big women in San Antonio with all them churros.
Those big old women in San Antonio.
Let's see. There are a couple things. So I want to get to another thing in the NBA that was on my mind. I was listening to a very riveting conversation. Chad Doing, who's in our show open, has been on the show, friend of the pod, was having a conversation with my former coworker and his co-host, Dwight James, who I worked with at NBC. And they were talking just about the upcoming draft, and we've talked about Bronny a little bit, and about where he will be drafted and everything. Obviously, Bronny James being represented by Klutch Sports, Rich Paul, LeBron James agency. It is the biggest conflict of interest out there. We all know it, but we've all accepted it, right? And I thought their conversation went to the fact of, if you are a team who could take Bronny James, even though he said, he's only going to work out for the Suns or the Lakers or anything like that. If you are a team, either before or after or whatever, do you take the chance of getting Bronny, whether you like him as a player or you think he's a great marketing opportunity, whether you think that LeBron James is going to come with you or not? Do you risk that, knowing the power and control that Klutch Sports has to motherfuck you on the back end so hard to make your players who are represented on that current team demand trades, to be with Klutch Sports to say, I'm not going to send my guys to your team because you absolutely screwed us? And I thought that it was a really interesting conversation about how LeBron, how Klutch, how Bronny can dictate exactly where he goes because of the level of influence and power that LeBron James and Klutch Sports has to be able to steer that narrative and direction because of all of that other aspect of things, free agency, trade demands, and everything like that if things don't go in their favor.
I think it depends what team. I think it depends what state, not actual state, but like what state your team is in. If you are a team that could compete right now, like a Minnesota or any of these teams, you don't want to fuck with the chemistry of what's happening.
Yeah.
If you are a team that has nothing to lose, you're a bottom dweller, there's nothing positive happening around your organization, I would take that risk.
You would.
As
a general manager, you would stick your neck out.
Unless I'm a team like the Thunder or the Kings, that I have all these young up-and-comers that I know is going to develop into something, then I wouldn't fuck with it. If I'm a Detroit or Charlotte, I have nothing going on for me right now.
Yeah, nothing to lose.
You have nothing to lose. Why not take a Bronny that's going to put asses in the seats, sell tickets, sell merchandise, bring people to your arena?
Because you could blacklist yourself. You could
It's
literally
not that deep. That is such a.
Of course, it's that
is
deep.
such a. I hate LeBron take. That,
How is it not that deep?
It's like a death sentence to be involved with the LeBron, Rich Paul, all this. That is a hate LeBron take. It's not that deep. You're not gonna get blacklisted for taking on the fucking guy's kid. That is a overreaction.
LeBron, I mean, we've talked about it before, but I mean, like, you know, the fact of whether or not he wants to play on the court or on the same team, the ability to say, like, hey, the Lakers are going to take this guy, the Suns are going to take this guy.
These are all speculations. What proof do you have that Klutch has blacklisted a team? Give me one.
I don't have that.
You
proof.
don't have what? You don't have that because you're all speculating. It's all
Isn't
speculation.
That our job? Isn't that our job? Is
but
to
your
speculate these
but
types
your
of things?
speculation is
I
that
don't have
deep,
proof.
like it's gonna kill a fucking franchise.
I'm not like in the inner circle of all that, but there are all kinds of deals that get backdoored and all kinds of ways that guys will try and motherfuck their ways through, and I just think that there's the possibility that could happen.
Yeah, that is
Does Klutch Sports only represent LeBron?
No,
in the NBA?
and that's the thing. They represent a ton of people, and so
It's a
that
normal
web,
sports agency.
that
So
web
wouldn't
is
it-
gigantic.
So wouldn't it be detrimental for them as a business to create that type of expectation to where they would blacklist teams? Isn't that going to be negatively affecting them as a business?
Not
for
when you
future deals.
Not when you are a player-run league these days. Not when you're a
So you
player-run league.
think that LeBron is willing to give up being a business owner and ruin every other athlete that they have deals with because he needs to?
I'm not saying every other. I'm
feed
just
what he needs to get done.
I'm not
That is
saying
dumb.
every other. I'm just saying that there's the possibility that you can motherfuck a team that messes around and finds out.
Just
it's a fuck around and find out league.
Embrace the
or
message
anything like
you're
that.
saying here.
I'm
You
saying
hate
I wouldn't.
LeBron,
No, I'm saying I
and
wouldn't
you think
put it
he's
past
gonna
him.
ruin
I'm
everything.
saying I wouldn't put it past him.
But that would be such a horrible business decision.
That the guy's actually a good business owner. He knows, like you're talking about Klutch, like it's
And
this
when things don't go your way, you have the power and influence to squash people, to
but then-
squish a person like a
But
bug.
Another
But
assumption.
that happens one time where he puts his own personal wants in front of actual business decisions. Then nobody's going to want to work with them anymore because they know that.
No, they're so big that you have to work with them.
Oh,
I don't think that's
that is
true.
not true at all.
How is Klutch? They represent so much money in the league.
Yes, you're arguing against yourself here. Klutch is a big agency. They're not the biggest in the NBA.
No, they're not.
So they're big enough that LeBron's not going to risk failing that business by putting his own interest over the entire business.
I'm not saying you go nuclear on
but
these
Klutch
guys.
isn't taking over because they're not the biggest sports agency that runs the NBA.
They're not. No, and I'm not saying that you go nuclear on this. I'm just saying that you find a way to mess around with those people's desires and money and those types of things. To say that that they don't have the power in order to fuck around back is short-sighted.
Like, do you see how this is a personal opinion of LeBron? Like, everything spewing out of your mouth is your personal opinion of LeBron that's blurring your logical part of your brain. You're picturing LeBron like Ursula from Little Mermaid.
The man is
cooking up a fucking plan.
constantly. The guy spent a year on a podcast with a guy who's now going to be his fucking head coach. JJ Redick is going to be the new head coach. They're going to be announcing it by tomorrow. So he just spent a whole year basically publicly interviewing his new head coach. So yeah, of course the guy's scheming constantly.
How is that the most horrible thing in the world? That JJ Redick is the coach of the Lakers?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But the thing is
Has
to say that the
LeBron
guy doesn't scheme. The guy schemes constantly.
Has
And
LeBron
to say
made
that
bad decisions throughout his career? Just horrible decisions that he's cooked up?
He's made some bad business decisions for sure.
Like what?
His whole rollout of his decision was a terrible PR
Okay,
move by
be
him.
more specific. Let's put you on the spot. What bad decisions has he made?
He's talking about the decision.
The decision.
Oh, of going to Miami and winning 3 championships? Okay. That's horrible. You won 3 rings by jumping? I mean, optics. Oh, it's optics. Okay, forget me. It's
to
bad
say
optics.
that the guy doesn't scheme and he isn't plotting and he isn't part of every single decision and he isn't trying to work things into his favor at all times as a billionaire man.
But here's the thing, Peter. Yes, he is a schemer. He has done all these things, but he's still widely regarded as the best basketball player in the league, if not all time. People widely love him, put him on a pedestal. He is, quote unquote, the king. If you don't think that he has the ability to lightly tiptoe around this situation and make sure that he does it in a way where not only is he going to set his son up for success and make sure that he's not the laughing stock of the league,
for sure,
and make sure that his company that he's invested in comes out on the other end of this in a positive light, that's a reach.
What's your alternative? If you were in charge of LeBron, how would you want him to move around? How would you want him to approach certain things? Like this Bronny draft example. How would you want him to handle
for
it?
one, I wouldn't allow him to own his own agency in which his fingerprints are all over being able to steer things one way or another. Gotcha. I think that that's an incredible conflict of interest, for one. I think that we all know that
I could absolutely fucking dig at you for an hour for that. Let's move past that. Let's move past him owning a sports agency. How would you want him to move around owning Klutch with the Bronny thing? What would be good in your optics? What would be good optics for you?
To not have the agency, for one.
Well, he has the agency, so we're past that.
So we're past the fact that he has the agency.
Yeah. How would you want him to handle this
Does he
current
own it
situation?
completely?
No.
He's a minority owner, right?
He helped found it. But I mean, like, it's one of those like where you're pulling the strings.
Sure, but he already owns it. How do you want him to move around? How do you want him to handle Bronny being drafted, going to the league, all that stuff? What would be good optics, in your opinion?
To be totally removed and recused from the entire situation.
Okay.
Which is currently happening.
Which is not how. Fuck off. There is no way that is happening where he is fully recused from everything. He's doing such a disservice to his son by being so involved with this process.
How can you
give a specific example on how involved he is?
I don't have a specific example.
No,
we all know this. Stop being so naive.
No, I'm just asking.
We're the one being naive?
Yes, you're being naive to think that his fingerprints, that he can't steer his son into this whole thing, that the reason why his son is even going to be, he's going to be a first-round pick. He doesn't deserve to be a first-round pick. Are you kidding me? And he's going to be. He's going to be like a top 20 pick because
why does he not deserve to be a number 1 pick?
You know exactly. He wasn't even the best, like, top 5 person on his own
to go
team
like
in the
50th.
But there's the possibility that he can go in the first round.
Sure, but didn't you also agree that, yeah, we're not sitting here claiming that he is a Kyrie Irving coming out of the draft, but the marketability of the kid is up there for the bottom dweller teams that could take him. Didn't you agree in one episode that is of high value?
The marketability, sure.
Okay, so why are we losing our goddamn minds that he could go in the first round? Because that makes sense to me if you're drafting him for his marketability.
My issue is
you hate LeBron and everything he does. That is your issue. You will find everything negative, even with the positive things that he's doing. That's your issue.
And the positive things being?
You want me to name positive things that LeBron has done?
No, I'm not asking that. You're just like, you're conflating. I feel like what you're doing is you're taking my argument and then you're taking like the broader argument.
I don't know. Let's just go with him being a dad looking out for his kid. You wouldn't do the same for Brody?
I think that's an entirely different situation.
You want him to be completely removed.
I would want my son to, on his own merit, earn the thing that he's got.
So...
But this whole argument, Peter, is based on a hypothetical that you, without evidence, think or know that
Without evidence. Come on, guys.
Give it to me.
Yeah, you have not provided a single ounce of proof.
We are sitting
outside of
in
your
a
speculation.
garage in Lake Oswego. I feel like it is not incumbent on me to prove or disprove when you say give me the evidence, when I say you can't disprove the evidence.
There's nothing.
Is this an innocent until proven guilty type of thing?
Here's what I'm saying, is there's nothing for or against what you're saying. There's nothing proving that LeBron is, meddling in this situation, trying to get Bronny a better
Which we
pick.
all know any logical, reasonable person would agree with that.
That he's not.
That he is in there meddling.
You are so you're drowning in your own head. You are absolutely not even thinking logically anymore, because you don't have good argument points. That you just hit Braxton with the opposite of, what is it, an innocent until proven guilty, when for the last 15 minutes you have been doing the guilty until proven innocent. That is what you've been spewing, is guilty until proven innocent. You just flipped
LeBron
it.
Time and time and time again. It is a pattern. It is a pattern of what he does. Please don't make me like...
You keep saying these vague statements. It's a pattern of what he does. What? What has he fucking done? You just do... You have not proven anything. You have no evidence.
He has steered guys in and out of town. He has built rosters. He's gotten head coaches hired and fired. He's done literally everything within an organization
to win championships.
And now,
what is your ultimate goal? If you were in the NBA, what's your goal? To have good optics?
I suppose.
What's the ultimate goal in the NBA?
Win championships.
Win
and
championships.
To get your son drafted on your team.
Has he done that? Has he won championships?
Not as many
as
Michael.
Has he taken the likes of J.R. Smith, Tristan Thompson, Kevin Love, David Blatt, a fucking European head coach, Tyronn Lue? He's won all those guys' rings. What a piece of shit.
He won David Blatt a ring that
what a piece of
he
shit.
didn't deserve. Because
guess what? There's an NBA
fired.
player somewhere that has great optics. I don't know who he is. He just provides great optics being in the league. I don't know who he is, though. I don't think he has any rings. But that's not the goal. That's not the goal. The goal is great optics.
Here's the thing. I don't love LeBron. I'll be the first to admit that. But to create a kind of blanket statement or an assumptive nature that he's behind the scenes meddling to make sure that his son...
It's like a witch.
Yeah.
That's exactly how you're painting him.
That's extreme. Because here's the thing.
Nothing extreme about that. I can't believe that you guys... Okay, we've done it. We've all made our
Can
points.
I finish?
Yes, please.
Do you think that wouldn't end terribly? Do you think that LeBron wants to put his son in a position where he does all this meddling and talking him up and getting him in a position where he can be successful, and then all of a sudden, Bronny shit, he's done all this, and then his son can't live up to it, not only for him personally as a father, but for his business and his agency, that all of a sudden they did all these things to talk Bronny up, get him in the right position, bring him to the Lakers or whatever, and Bronny just fucking sucks? Why would he do that? That would be such a bad look.
I think it almost goes beyond hate now. You also view him as such a dumb person that you are speculating that he would do all these things as an idiot, a master idiot, to ruin him as a face of the league and his business just for wanting this one thing to happen.
He's not going to ruin his business. I am saying it is not beyond him to motherfuck around with other teams should they go against either his desires or what the script would be. We've already seen LeBron talk about, like, opening night. Oh, Bronny could cook some of these guys. And then the end of the season comes and he goes, well, let's not be so hard on this guy. We've already seen him do those types of things in terms of talking his son up. I feel like we're not going to come to an agreement here, obviously,
Peter,
because
we've not
we know
come
my
to an
own,
agreement in
my
15 years.
My own personal, my own personal feelings. Those are there. We all
happens
know
when
that.
you assume.
I'm not exactly sure. It means that you have big feet. But when it comes down to it, to put it past LeBron to pull puppet strings is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And that and more.
That's all he's saying.
To the NFL.
It's like you make a point and you go, just saying.
You must be hot
That's
under
all I'm
that
saying.
that vinyl. You're hot under the collar and you're hot under the vinyl.
My hands are freezing. This is keeping me warm.
That's good. A couple of things in the NFL before we get out of here. Justin Jefferson paid. Big money for Justin Jefferson and also for Christian McCaffrey also getting paid as we roll into mandatory mini camps for a couple of teams. Noticeable absence in CeeDee Lamb with the Dallas Cowboys not there, possibly holding
My
out.
problem is Justin Herbert is behind the scenes cooking up,
Fuck
getting
off.
fucking Harbaugh, Joe Alt. It's like this guy is up to something, and I'm going to find out.
You keep digging, brother.
Oh, boy. I'm speculating the shit out of Herbie.
Next time on. It was interesting, though. You reset the wide receiver market with Justin Jefferson getting paid as much as he was. I wasn't terribly shocked, and I don't think that it's all of a sudden going to lend itself to a bunch of other running backs getting paid with Christian McCaffrey. I just think that that is a guy who deserved to get the money that he was paid with a 2-year extension there.
Receivers are getting more respect than running back. View is still the same.
Exactly, yeah. Think that this is kind of a nice little bonus for Christian McCaffrey, and almost like when you see what's happening with Justin Jefferson, kind of, resetting the market to decide like who's going to get a bigger deal, knowing that there are some guys coming up. A lot of speculation. I don't think that T. Higgins is anywhere close to that type of money, but he's another guy who's in line to potentially get paid. Jamar Chase could be on pace for his next contract.
First of all, Jefferson's money is well deserved.
For sure.
But the most interesting thing I found is if you were starting a team today, would you take Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb as your top wide receiver?
Jefferson.
I don't think it's that easy. I love Jefferson more than a lot of people. I don't think that's an easy question to answer.
I do.
You watched CeeDee Lamb last season?
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb is pretty
Fuck,
darn good.
man.
Pretty
season.
darn good. And Justin
Have you
Jefferson
seen
was
Justin
out for
Jefferson
6 weeks last year. So
The last 3 seasons, that's
You
where
can't make that argument necessarily head-to-head, though, because they've been in the league, I think, around the same time. Jefferson had a monster rookie year and then average because he got hurt. CeeDee Lamb was just flipped. There were injuries, and then he didn't have any injuries last season. So they're pretty even on that scale.
he will have
That's why it's hard for me.
J.J. McCarthy throwing to him next year. So it'll be interesting to see how those numbers stack up with a guy who is a touch different and a touch younger than
We're talking
Kirk
about
Cousins.
two guys, too, that are clearly top 5 wide receivers in the league. And the other one has been getting balls thrown to him by Kirk Cousins and the other by Dak. I clearly don't view those two quarterbacks as top tier.
Sure, yeah.
What could these guys do if they had a Patrick Mahomes or a Jalen Hurts?
Yeah. I'm so excited for this football season, to be honest. I think with the guys that are getting paid, the rookies that are coming in, the changes that are being made roster-wise, it's going to be a fun season.
And what do you think of the Bears on Hard Knocks this upcoming fall
That
camp?
was expected.
Yeah, but still
Who else
very
are they gonna
exciting.
put on?
Yeah, I'm going to get too excited about the Bears. Draft probably 3 of them on my fantasy
Yeah,
football
you're gonna
team.
get
and they're
Keenan
gonna-
Allen. You're
they're
gonna
gonna
get
fuck me
all
over.
of that. So, Let's see. Anything else when it comes to the sports? You want to rehash that? We can still talk about LeBron if you like, but I really have to go potty.
I think
prefer not to. I hate when my parents fight.
Yeah, well.
Technically, this was a throuple. Everybody was in it.
I was trying to be the voice of reason.
Yeah, well.
Just because I'm the loudest doesn't mean that there's not equal opinions happening here.
Well, would you call my take on LeBron a half suck?
I don't even want to call it anything because it doesn't deserve a title. It doesn't deserve any energy or anything.
At official IJMS, I imagine there will be plenty of people who agree with me.
What would you say? Half suck or full suck?
It was more on the LeBron thing than the suck thing.
The LeBron comment or the opinion is such a MAGA thing.
Oh, shut up!
Okay.
Take off your little blanket. It just
I
makes
can't
sense
let him
for
see
you.
what this is. We got to go off air before I strip.
You are naked.
Yeah, I am.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
Any last words?
Say you love LeBron.
Do that.
Clear.
Full hearts.
Can't lose.
Full hearts. Full hearts.
Question. So you turn to Will Ferrell.
Full hearts? Maybe. I'm Burgundy.